You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast. Hello baseball family, Matthew here with this week's roundup of British baseball action. This week's roundup show is presented to you by Coach Carter Field Sports and Supplies, a store dedicated to bringing top quality baseball and softball gear to the players from the player. It's your one-stop shop for all your baseball and softball requirements, so head on over to www.coachcarterfieldsports.co.uk. Well, there's been plenty of action around the BBF Open Tournament. I'd just like to acknowledge that there are a lot of inter-squad games and feeling some plenty of baseball action around the country, not necessarily in the BBF Open Tournament. And just want to know that I haven't forgotten about you, and I've been watching from the social medias and retweeting the action as I can. But to tell us some more about the weird season happenings, I've got Rob, the commercial director of the Hearts London Baseball Club, and David Martin Byers from the Liverpool Trojans. He's the first team manager and catcher there too. So here's some interviews. And joining me now from the Hearts Londoners is the commercial director and most importantly the catcher. This is Rob. Rob, how are we?
Hi, I'm very good, thank you. Very good. A little bit tired. It's been a long day playing baseball, but hopefully it's all good.
Yeah, you're doing a couple of in-house tournaments at the moment to do some squad development. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure, exactly. Well, what we decided to do in kind of July when we got permission to play baseball games again was, we're a big club. We've got a lot of players and we've been taking on more players actually during the year. So we're doing an in-house tournament. So we split the squads into teams, so sort of broke them in half. And we had 4 teams today play 4 games. Last week we did kind of 6 games. So we did a little round robin. And everyone kind of plays each other. And the idea being that, this year, that means that, we keep the same group of players together as much as possible. We don't do the traveling. And it means that those new people we've taken on as much as possible can play other new people. So they're, getting an even game and get them all into experience of baseball games without actually sort of being part of a league as such. So yeah, we've done, I think, 3 weeks now of this tournament for ourselves up at our main base in Hemel Hempstead. And yeah, it's been good. The weather's been kind to us, and everyone's had a good time so far.
Excellent. Anybody surprised you and stood out at the moment? I suppose surprised.
Well, we've had a lot of today. We had some great plays today. There's some guys, to be honest, I don't even know their name because they're new, and as I said, we got a lot of people. But you'd think it wasn't all about mistakes. Some great plays, some great catches. Yeah. So we had rundowns, we had double plays, we had sliding grabs in the outfield. It was great, and I think people really are learning as well. So as I know you will have found. When you start sort of playing baseball, the basics of it are all pretty basic. You throw the ball, you catch the ball. But then there's a million and one rules to kind of figure out and situational stuff. And the real way to learn that is by playing the game on the dime. And so, you might make a dopey mistake, but that's the way you remember it in your head. And it's really frozen there. So, people have really got so much better just in the, like the last 3-4 weeks.
Excellent. And you said you've got 4 teams on the go at the moment.
Yeah, that's it. So we've, a lot of your listeners might know, the club's been around for, more than 20 years, and we got quite a lot of teams. What we had last year, I think we had 5 teams in BBF leagues. And this year, essentially what we have are Londoners in our base in Northwest London, sort of around Brent Cross, Golders Green. They're a single A team, and then we have another single A team that play in Hemel Hempstead, the Raptors. And so we've taken both of those and sort of split them to make Raptors A and Raptors B, imaginatively titled. And then Londoners and the Eagles, which is another one of our club names. Generally speaking, our teams are all birds. The Londoners are a bit of a a bit of a wild card in there when we started in Northwest London. So we 4 teams on the go today, and then we also have the Falcons who play in the National League. They they were doing training today. They had a game away last week. I think they were down in Kent. So they did a bit of work today, and then are just fixing up games, I think, for themselves as they go along. So yeah, we had 4 teams plus the Falcons all on the go, and occasionally we have some Hawks as well, but we haven't got a Hawks that's active at this very moment.
That's cool. So what do you think it is about baseball in Hertfordshire that's attracting so many people to have so many teams?
Well, I mean, the main credit I have to give is to obviously all the people who've put in the hard work at the club to sort of try and make it happen. We've got some amazing people who just seem to have relentless energy to get it going. But yeah, I think what we're aiming to do, and what I try and do in the media side of the club, is you're just trying to spread the word, really, because there's so many people still don't know that the game is played here. And so I think you just want to give them an option. We're not trying to don't imagine to ever take over from football, rugby, cricket in England, but you just want people to know that the sport is there, have the choice of it, give it a try. And we've done a lot of stuff in Hertfordshire to just sort of try and spread the word of it. We are the only club in Hertfordshire, and we're the only club in our little bit of northwest London where we've expanded to, just to let them know it's there, and so that kids, adults can, when they're thinking, well, I want to give something a try, just got a new option for it. I mean, we've had people come to the club who, they've played football and they didn't really like it that much, but they just kind of kept playing football because that's what they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it never occurred to them that there was something else they could do. So we just want to spread the word and sort of let them come and give it a go. But as I said, we've had a lot of people this year, which, coming forward, signing up, which surprised us a little bit, because you're thinking in lockdown, last thing they're going to do is, let's start a new hobby. But maybe the inverse of that is true. They've been thinking, well, looking around, get a bit more time to Google stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think here's something else I can do. So, we have had loads of people, which is one of the reasons the Raptors team were quite easy to split in half. They've got a lot of players, and the manager's done an amazing job. Manager's a guy called Mantas, who is one of those I'm saying that's got endless enthusiasm and energy, and he's been running training sessions kind of every chance he can. Does a lot of stuff to encourage the new people.
Great stuff.
And you can see from those teams, how much they're enjoying it and how much they feel like they're being given a chance. It's not that they have to come along and get blown away by some major leaguer. They're there and we want to give them a chance.
That's awesome. Lovely stuff. Rob, I always like to leave the last word to the guests. Is there anything you'd like to talk about? Anything you want to shout out before you go?
Well, and I think it would probably be that thing that the more the clubs can, spread the word, and there's been so many new clubs kind of springing up in the last couple of years. There's a lot of chatter on online that people moan about how the game is run, and it's a challenge for a small sport, but I think we all try and do our own little bit to kind of spread the word. I do it when I go into work on a Monday. I like to talk about the game. People, I have a reputation at work for, they don't always want to hear it, but you want to talk about that it's there and that it exists, and sort of cascade it, particularly through the kids. We have youth operation as well at Hearts. We've just started running some sessions in northwest London, and so we've got lots of age groups already set up in Hemel and looking at tournaments in the autumn. And it's the kids are obviously very important to sort of get them into get the game going. So the more we can promote that, and obviously the work that you're doing, which has been great this year as well, to have have you as part of it, and you're kind of learning as you go along with the game, and sort of sharing that as well. So that's exactly what we're just looking to do. And so people, they might look at the game and go, nah, it's not for me. But as long as they get a chance to look at it, and then they can go, oh, actually, this really suits me. And they come along, and that's what happened to me nearly 20 years ago, and I'm still doing it.
Good stuff. And where can we find you on social medias, or where can we get in touch with you if you're in the Hertfordshire region and looking to take part or to join the club?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're in Hertfordshire or in our bit of northwest London, up sort of Hendon Way, then obviously the website's the simplest thing to find, which is heartsbaseball.com. So HERTS, baseball, all one word. We are also then on Twitter. All the teams are on Twitter as well. So as I said, we've got a bunch of teams. Each of them have a Twitter presence. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and there's ways to sort of get in touch with us through all of those and say, I'm interested in coming along, and then we can put them on an email list so that whenever we are running sessions and stuff, people can come along. But do get in touch with us at all of those, and and just follow them as well, because we provide quality content.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, Rob. I appreciate your time this evening, and all the best of luck for the upcoming seasons.
No worries. Thanks very much.
And joining me from the Liverpool Trojans is the first team manager and catcher, David Martin Baez. David, how are we doing?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Had a good game yesterday. The weather's good today, so yeah, all's good.
Yeah, long may this nice weather continue, at least for another couple of weeks or so, until we can get down to the Battle of Britain in Kent. So, David, you've been involved in some inter-squad matches, and I've invited you on to the show to have a chat about it. Off you
go. Yeah, well, so this season for all clubs has been a bit different, and at the Trojans, it's been no different. We've played one game so far, well, one double-header against Sheffield Bruins. So I think as the restrictions lessened a bit, and we wanted to get we're able to make practices bigger, and the natural sort of progression of that was to have more and more games with a lack of opposition because of various reasons. Either they're involved in other competitions or they're just not playing this season. We decided yesterday to have an intra-club game, and our focus this season has been more on the development side, because the competitive side really isn't there. So it was a good matchup, and it was a good mix of players from a number of different teams within the Trojans. So we had some experienced players, we had experienced batteries starting off with, but in those sides were also second team players, and I mean, I say second team, they're almost they're very close in standard to the top two teams. Yeah. And then we've got the new rookie players that we had a plan for a third team to be taken off this season, but that of course didn't happen. So we've had a number of players coming into the club, and for I think about 3 of them, it was the first game yesterday. So really good to see.
How did they get on?
They did well. I mean, so the 3 players, we had Dan Meakin, we had Connor Robertson, and Matthew Robinson, and they've all been turned up to training, and we try and sort of replicate game situations and game scenarios and getting prepared for a game, but it's not until they actually play a game that they realise what it's about. So I mean, Dan was on my side, and I started him out in the outfield, but we had to make some positional changes, and I threw him into second base. So his first game, he's gone into second base, and he's done a great job there. He got base hit as well. I think an RBI. So he did well. Connor was saying to me he wanted to have a go at pitching. Yeah. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the right time yesterday, but it just shows his attitude and his enthusiasm. And then Matthew Robinson as well. He was on the other side, so I wasn't really sort of focusing on him so much. But yeah, I think he had a reasonable game considering it's his first game. So it was made up with that.
Excellent. How important was it for the Trojans to keep playing regardless of opportunities? Because I know that you're not involved in the BBF tournament, and you said then that a lot of clubs decide just to take the season off. Was it something that you as a group decided that you're just going to do in-house tournaments and just see if you could arrange friendlies, or was it always the plan just to train as hard as ever and crack on?
Well, I think before the lockdown happened, we had a lot of good momentum going on. Ian Blease has been at the head of this, and he's been really driving the club on for the last couple of seasons. So we had a really good momentum going on. We've got sponsors. We had the third team coming together. We organised the leadership of all the teams. So when the lockdown happened, we kind of there was a lot of players that wanted to play baseball, but just we didn't have the opportunity. Mm-hmm. So it just when we were able to train, we started to train, and we were getting good numbers. That momentum, even though it petered out a bit, we're still getting the players there. And then when other teams started to play games, it became natural. I mean, we've got an offer from Sheffield Bruins, because they're really keen to sort of play as much baseball as they can. Yeah. So it was great to play them. So it was just sort of a natural progression that we were going to play games, because there's only so much you can do in the training session, really. You're training to play a game, so ultimately people want to play that game. So we put it out. Let's get an intra-club game going, and there was a lot of enthusiasm for it. We had a great game yesterday, and already the chat was, shall we do it again next week?
Yeah.
So we'll probably just keep this going, weather dependent, and further restrictions dependent.
That's awesome, lovely stuff. Well, David, any final words? Anything else to shout out, promote before you go?
No, I mean about the club. The club's looking healthy. I mean, there's so many different names I could mention from yesterday's game, and we had we talked about the new players, but there was also we had Martin Godsall come back, and for people in the British baseball community will know who Goddy is. But he's for those who don't know, he's probably one of the in certainly my lifetime the greatest pitchers that's been produced from this country. So he came back. He had a little bit of a pitch. I was trying to tempt him to come back on a bit more permanent basis, but I think he kind of likes a little bit of the retirement and the fishing and the caravanning.
Yeah.
We had Mark King, who's I didn't know him personally, but he used to play for Skem Tigers. He came down as well. We had James Hobson, who's the first time I've seen him play a game for a while. So and he was one of the original Tujuns when the second teams kind of started. So it's great to see, and we had some experienced batteries going off. So I think it was a good all-round game. We'll keep it going. And the only thing I'd sort of say to the wider baseball community, if you fancy a game, you fancy a trip to Liverpool, or if you're not too far away, we'd certainly consider getting some kind of friendly game going like we did against the Bruins. Just
awesome.
Get in touch with our Facebook page, and we'll take it from there.
Excellent stuff. Thank you very much, DMB. And for me personally, thank you very much for always contributing to listener questions and your continued support of the show. And
yeah, no worries.
Much love. I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.
All right. And now on to the results from the BBF Open Tournament. We'll start off in the NBL division with the Lancashire Legends taking on the Essex Arrows and the London Capitals taking on the London Mets. Now, the morning games there, the Capitals beat the London Mets 5-4, and the Legends went down 3-16 against the Arrows team. Then in the afternoon fixtures, the Capitals once again overcame the London Mets with a 4-3 victory, and the Lancashire Legends went down swinging 6-12. I know Paul from Baseball Scotland, the president there, went down to Slough to see some of the young Scottish players in action in the Legends, and I think he was quite happy with what he saw down there. And that means that the Mets stay top, despite their 2-loss streak, with 7 wins and 3 losses. The Capitals hold second place with the Essex Arrows in third, and the Legends down there at the bottom in fourth. On to the AAA division, the East London Latin Boys took on the London Marauders, and the Kent Buccaneers took on the London Mammoths. And in the morning games there, the Buccaneers beat the London Mammoths 8-7, and the East London Latin Boys came out of their game in the morning with a 5-0 victory over the Marauders. Then in game 2s, the Kent Buccaneers just narrowly beat the London Mammoths again with 10-9, with the East London Latin Boys winning 3-1. So let's have a look at the league standings there in AAA, and that looks like the Kent Buccaneers at the top with their 6 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. The East London Latin Boys are now up to second with 4 wins and 4 defeats, with the Mammoths in their 5-3. And the Essex Redbacks are 4-4, not playing this week, and the London Marauders still without a win this season, but they've got 1 draw and 7 defeats. 4 teams in action in the AA South, with the London Musketeers taking on the South Coast Pirates and the Richmond Dragons taking on the Guildford Mavericks. The Richmond Dragons coming out on top of the Guildford Mavericks 11-7, with the Musketeers defeating the South Coast Pirates 7-11. And in the afternoon games, the Dragons just defeated by the Guildford Mavericks with 7-8, so well done Guildford, and the South Coast Pirates overcoming the Musketeers with 9-7. And this is another league with 5 teams in it. So the Musketeers are at the top with 4 wins, 1 defeat and 3 losses, which is the same result as the Richmond Dragons. They're in second only due to the plus-minus averages there. The South Coast Pirates are 4 wins and 3 defeats, with Croydon Pirates there at 3-4, and the Guildford Mavericks on 3-5, with the Croydon Pirates not in action this week. Some big scores coming again out of the AA Southwest Division, with BC Viterra taking on the Bournemouth Bears and the Rebeldes taking on the Bristol Badgers. In the morning games, Rebeldes had a 4-0 victory over the Badgers, and the Viterra coming out there 17-7 against Bournemouth Bears. And in the afternoon fixtures there, the Rebeldes won yet again with 12 runs to 8, and BC Viterra shutting out the Bears for a second consecutive game with 9 runs to 0. So that means the Rebeldes stay top of their division with 9 wins and only 1 loss, with Viterra close behind them with 7 wins and 3 defeats. The Bristol Badgers 2-6, and the Bournemouth Bears yet to win yet with 0-8, but who knows, this is baseball, a victory could be there next week. So let's have a look at the Single A Central. Bracknell Inferno taking on the Brighton Jets and the Guildford Millers taking on the Richmond Dukes. The morning games saw the Richmond Dukes defeating the Guildford Millers in a high-scoring 12 runs to 15, and Bracknell Inferno there just slightly edging out the Bristol Jets 7 runs to 6. Guildford Millers shut out the Dukes in their second games by winning 14 runs to 0, and in a tight game again with the Bracknell Inferno and the Brighton Jets, they won 14 runs to 3. So that means for their league, the Jets are at the top with 6 wins to 2. The Bracknell Inferno with 5-5. Guildford Millers 4-4, and the Richmond Dukes are 3-7. Single A saw some high-scoring games too. The Forest Grade Redbacks even taking on the London Mustangs, and the Essex Archers taking on the London Minotaurs. In the first game, the Redbacks came down to 9 runs to 12 to the Mustangs, with the Essex Archers winning 17 runs to 4 over the Minotaurs. And in those afternoon games, the Redbacks were defeated 11 runs to 15. And then the result of the day there, the Essex Archers winning 20 runs to 13 against the Minotaurs. I'd love to have seen that one. So let's have a look there at the league table. The Archers are still joint top with 7 wins to 3 with the Mustangs, again with the win streaks and the +9 averages in favour of the Archers with their 77 runs to their 39 to the Mustangs. In third place are the Redbacks with their 6-4, and the Minotaurs still swinging away with 0-10. Just the 2 games coming out of the Single A South East, with the Kent Buccaneers taking on the Tonbridge Bobcats. Both victories going to the Buccaneers as they run their morning game 14 runs to 4, and then the afternoon games 11 runs to 6. With those 2 games just being played, it means that the Buccaneers are at the top of their division still with 8 runs to 2. They are seconded with the Mariners, which is 3-3, who are tied with the Bobcats at 3-3. And the South Coast Sea Dogs not in action, neither were the Mariners, and the Sea Dogs are 0-6. News north of the border. Happy to announce that Scotland, if you haven't read recently, have now been allowed to train and play again in some sort of capacity. So that I believe from my sources that there was no games played this weekend, but lots of developmental training and probably some in-house competition. But as soon as any sort of action that I can report on from up there, I will bring it to you. And the West Midlands Baseball League, the Titans went down to the Wolverhampton Wolves. That was 17 runs to the Wolves and 5 to the Titans. And the Worcester Sorcerers won 9 runs to 6 over the Giants, which makes it Titans with 0-4. The Wolves are 2-2. The Giants are 3-1, tied with the Sorcerers, who are also 3-1 for the season. And lastly, the results from the East of England Baseball League. We have the Iceni Warriors taking on the Cambridge Royals in their doubleheader, and those games ended in both victories for the Cambridge Royals, going 15 runs to 9 in the first game and 14 runs to 7 in their end game. And that's it for this week's roundup. I hope you've all had a great weekend playing ball, or at least watching some if you can. Enjoy trade deadline day. I hope your teams have made some moves. I know it's not really British baseball based, but that'd be weird if like Liverpool and Manchester started trading players. I might need to check my group messages, see if I've been sent somewhere weird. Okie dokie. All the best. I'll see you soon. Stay safe. Ta-ra.